Hey everyone, my name is Ariel and welcome to the Portly Island Boy YouTube channel. Today we are doing a recap and review of One Piece Volume 4. Before we start, please don't forget to give this video a like and hit subscribe on that channel button so that you can get that notification every time I post a new video and we can get that YouTube algorithm working in my favor. Alright, let's get started. In One Piece Volume 4, we follow two main threads. Miss Kaya learning about the deception by her butler Klahadore, and Luffy, Zoro, Usopp, and Nami fighting the Black Cat pirates to prevent them from attacking Usopp's village, a village named Syrup Village. So let's start with Kaya. We start this thread with Kuro talking to Kaya's other butler, a man named Mary. Mary has like weird sheep hair and like sheep ears, kind of like Mochi the lion tamer we saw in a previous volume. Mary hands Kuro a present from Miss Kaya, a real thoughtful present. It's like these glasses with the rubber soles so that the glasses don't slip and fall, because Kuro has a bad habit of like fixing his glasses. This present is to commemorate Klahadore's 3-year anniversary as a butler for the family. Kuro takes this opportunity to reveal himself as a pirate, as a villain. He smashes Kaya's very thoughtful present on the ground, steps on it, and then he brutally slashes Mary, leaving him for dead. The next morning, Kaya awakes and she finds that Klahadore is missing. She discovers Mary on the ground, bloody and broken. Mary, who's barely alive, is able to tell Kaya the truth. Klahadore was a pirate all this time. And the person who tried to warn them just the day before, Usopp, was driven off in disgrace, attacked, literally shot at by Mary himself. Kaya sets off to find Kuro in the hopes of bribing him to leave without further bloodshed. I think she realizes that what good is all this money if we're just going to die for it. Kaya catches up with everybody over at the shore. Everybody's in a fight, and we learn that Kuro doesn't just want the money. He feel like he needs to kill Kaya and kill everybody who knows, everybody who can kind of out him as a pirate. He wants peace of mind. He doesn't want to be chased by Marines anymore. Kaya goes on the run away because they kind of need her away from the battle so that she can't be attacked. She runs off with the vegetable trio, Pepper, Onion, and Carrot, Usopp's friends. But Django the Hypnotist goes after her. So let's get into the other side of this volume. We have the fight between our Strawhat crew and the Black Cat pirates. We start the story with Usopp, and he's dejected and he's down and he's depressed because his lies have finally caught up with him. His hometown is in danger, and he really couldn't do anything about it. And it's all thanks to his own carelessness and his own lies. Our crew catches up with Usopp, who and the four of them are ready to fight. Usopp brings some strategy with him, some trickery to the group. They're going to use oil slick to prevent the pirates from running up the slope. Except they're at the wrong port. They realize that there's another port on the north shore, and they scramble their way to that part of the island. Nami and Usopp find their way there just fine. But Luffy runs off and is nowhere to be found, and Nami accidentally slips on the slick and pulls down Zoro to let her get up the slope, which is not smart. You want the super strong swordsman guy at the shore and not, the hide and run and steal thief. So our two directionally challenged muscleheads, they're nowhere to be found. The two weaker members of the group clash with the pirates. They put up a fight, but really they're overmatched. These are real pirates. Usopp in particular really gets a taste of what it means to put his life on the line for something, right? He's been playing at pirates this whole time. Oh, I've got 8,000 members. Oh, I have this pirate crew of kids. No. These pirates will kill you. Your life is on the line, and you're actually sacrificing something for this village. Nami fares a little better. She is used to life or death situations, as we've kind of noted in the Buggy episode, or the Buggy chapter, volume, whatever. But really, they're no match for real, physically strong pirates. Our heroes, Luffy and Zoro, finally do show up. They make pretty quick work of the nameless pirate fodder that Usopp and Nami struggled with so badly. Usopp, in particular, is very surprised that these guys are that strong. It kind of gives us a sense that they are abnormally strong in this world. Django makes it a point to try and hypnotize his crew to become stronger, to be more battle ready, and of course, in that, Luffy gets hypnotized as well. He seems very susceptible to that. He leaves Zoro to fight Kuro's more experienced officers, these two brothers called the Nyaban brothers. I think Nyan means meow, so it's something meow brothers. These two cat brothers are crafty, but they aren't really a match for Zoro, so it ends up going pretty smoothly. The volume ends with Luffy ready to take on the dreaded Captain Kuro. So let's get into the review. It's a pretty simple volume. These early volumes, especially Syrup Village, many people think Syrup Village is maybe the worst arc of the entire manga. But after next volume, we're gonna get into We're gonna get into some more real complex, some more exciting volumes, and then in just a couple of videos, things do start to get more complex. So the review. The fight between our heroes and the Black Cat Pirates isn't really anything special. Luffy and Zoro they're just unnaturally strong compared to every single person we see. Buggy is an experienced pirate. Kuro is an experienced pirate. These are experienced pirates. They pillage, they plunder, they kill people, and these two dudes are just like, we're stronger than anybody you've got. This is a joke. But I think that Usopp is the real star of Volume 4. He really gets this emotional arc where his lies have caught up with him, and his neighbors and his friends have shunned him. And they've shunned him in a deeper way than they ever have before. Even Kaya, his best friend, somebody that he spends all this time with, cheering up, showing attention to, she pushes him away for besmirching the honor of the upright and honest Klahadore. It's brutal. For the first time, Usopp is faced with the consequences of his actions, but instead of running like the coward he claims to be, Usopp decides to put his life on the line. This is a through line that Luffy will often bring up. If you want to be a pirate, you've got to risk your life. Because out there on the seven seas, nobody's coming to save you. Right? Nobody's coming to save you. Usopp puts his life on the line. He's of course still scared. You'll see that his knees are knocking and there's tremble in his voice, as we see a little bit in the kind of sound effects. Right? In the anime, you see it a lot more clearly how scared he is and when his tone changes. He's still scared, but this is a step towards becoming the courageous warrior that he really dreams of being. When we finally do see Usopp in action, he fights using a slingshot. He's a marksman, so not exactly like your traditional warrior weaponry. But it does fit his personality. He attacks from a distance. He provides support. He's not an in-your-face muscle guy. We've already got two of those. Two guys who are unnaturally powerful. We don't need another. Usopp, he provides like some real cool variety to our crew. He attempts to use things like oil slick and spikes as traps. He's a real technician. Nami is very clever and crafty, but it looks like Usopp maybe has the better eye for strategy, real-time battle strategy. It brings variety to the crew. Usopp and Nami are more brain than brawn, and this is a great contrast to, like I said, our muscle. And this is not really a spoiler, but as the series goes on, These guys are our muscle. Luffy and Zoro, they are our muscle. I mean, Luffy wants to conquer the seas. Maybe that's not really his word, but that's kind of what everyone sees. It. You want to conquer the ocean, is Luffy's dream, and Zoro's dream is to be the greatest swordsman ever. And it's kind of those two things are kind of baked into you. You want to do this, all right? You've got to be the strongest people on the ocean, and that's what they're aiming for. Usopp wants to be a warrior, a courageous warrior of the seas. He wants to be a pirate worthy of his father's respect in some ways. Nami just wants to steal from pirates, I guess, but neither of them have any dreams towards becoming these great and powerful warriors. Great and like top tier powerful shonen end of the line. No, they just, that's what our other two guys are for. And you'll find that One Piece, they bring a lot of utility to their characters to avoid the quote unquote Yamcha problem, where characters like Goku and Vegeta get more powerful and more powerful and more powerful, and they kind of leave everybody in the dust. And in a story where everything is about fighting, that's not great. That's not good character writing. But in One Piece, we have our two main heroes. You think that this is all it's about. We need to fight people. Zoro needs to be the strongest. Luffy needs to do this, whatever. But as we pick up crew members, you learn that they each have such specific skills. They each have such specific dreams that it's never about the whole crew being the strongest. We'll get into that later. It's pretty awesome. I think it's some of the best character writing in all of manga, maybe all of comic books, because a lot of DC, specifically DC, I think in my head, properties, their problem is like, hey, the Justice League has all the best people at what they do, all the best, to the point where it's just like, all right, who's supposed to beat these guys? Right? It's like the Avengers. Oh, they have the smartest man in that universe. They have this monstrous Hulk who can beat anybody, and they have a God of Thunder. Okay, where's the fun in that? Like, no, the One Piece crew has a couple of heavy hitters, a couple of really smart people who will aid on the journey to becoming king of the pirates, without everybody being muscly. They're not even being powerful. So speaking of Luffy, Luffy is a powerhouse, but he's also an idiot. Like, he's so susceptible to being tricked. He's so susceptible to the hypnosis. In this point, we'll see it a little further. Zoro has the same level of strength, right? But he has more cunning. He has more mental fortitude. They're both kind of directionally challenged, and if you try to explain something smart to them, it doesn't seem like they'll be able to understand what's going on. But Zoro kind of truly understands what is happening from a tactical, from a warrior sense. I think we've seen a lot more emotional intelligence from Luffy than from Zoro. Zoro probably has no emotional intelligence. He put all his points into instinct as opposed to emotion. But Luffy is just, he's been hypnotized and he's not even the target. So it's not great. Speaking of Zoro, in this fight between him and the Nyaban brothers, he's a little careless. He lets his swords get stolen so easily. We saw this kind of carelessness in the fight against Buggy, where he gets stabbed after seemingly taking down Buggy very quickly. He even notes, like, I should have known that. I knew he had a devil fruit, and my lack of focus will be my downfall. Not great. In the fight against the Nyaban brothers, they steal a couple of his swords pretty easily. And one of them is the sword from his friend Kuina, the one who's dearly departed friend. Not great. I do love this moment where Zoro blocks a shot that Usopp shoots a slingshot round at one of the Nyaban brothers. Zoro blocks it purposefully to make sure that Usopp and Nami don't become targets. He has this real great sense of what needs to be done in battle. Now, as soon as the battle's over, I don't think Zoro is the person to rely on. But if you need someone in a fight, he is very, very important. Kuro has plenty of moments in this volume, but we'll look at that as the when the whole arc ends in volume 5. So let's look at Kaya before we get out of here. Kaya is it's a little tough look for Kaya here. Usopp has kind of been her only friend besides Kuro, besides Clahador and Mary, her butlers. That doesn't really count, right? Alfred and Bruce are not really friends, right? Usopp has been her only friend. He's been cheering her up with stories, with they're called lies, right? But like we know what they are. They're stories. They're make believe fantastical adventures, and I mean presumably you've known this person most of your life, unless Kaya's that snobby rich kid who lives in a mansion who doesn't really see like the village kids, right? And he's never done anything to make you doubt him. But when he tries to tell you that, like, this person is, like, he's trying to kill you, you're deciding to side with Clahador, this guy who randomly showed up on your doorstep 3 years ago. It's not, like, I get it. Kaya maybe thinks that he's taking revenge because Clahador insulted him. But, like, doesn't the Clahador or Kuro insults, they get real deep and personal. They get real, almost like a little vindictive. Doesn't that kind of give you a sense of the type of person that Clahador is? Right? I understand, but I'm not going to pretend that Kaya is 100% in the right here when she drives Usopp away when he tries to save her. I'm not going to pretend that. It is tough. She's also like 17, 16, so what it's what do teens know? Nothing. Teens know nothing. But the line where Kaya says, "What have I ever done for him?" talking about Usopp, it hits you. What has she ever done for this guy? He shows up. He spends so much of his time trying to make her feel better, and he got attacked for his troubles. I love that after this incident, both Usopp and Kaya risk their lives to do what is right and to protect both each other and the village. It's a moment in the story of One Piece that reminds you that guys, like Luffy and Zoro, are kind of outliers, right? That there's this moment where Usopp gets hit with this big stone hammer and he's like bleeding, and you're like, man, I don't know if he could do this. We're only 4 volumes in, but at no point, even when like Zoro's stabbed in the chest, do I think that Zoro's in really any danger. Right? Luffy gets thrown off cliffs and crushed by giant ship bows and all this stuff, and it's just like, yeah, these guys are invincible. But in this world, people die. Shanks lost his arm. A pirate gets, a bandit, gets shot in the head. The mountain bandit Haguma the bear gets eaten. People die, right? So it's a reminder that like people can die in this world, and some of our really monstrous crew members are the exception. Before we go, that seems to be really it in this volume. There's a lot of fighting, there's a lot of action, but not too much depth. We'll get a lot more of that in volume 5. We got a little bit more of it in volume 3. But before we go, let's talk about SBS, the question corner. So, at the end of some chapters of One Piece, we get a fan question and answer section from Oda Sensei, Eiichiro Oda. The author answers these questions. In Japanese, SBS stands for Shitsuman Oboshusuru. I think I'm saying that correctly, but basically I'm taking questions. It's time for questions. Throughout the series, Oda will sometimes give joke answers. Somebody asks, "Hey Oda, how many how far can Luffy stretch?" And he's like, "Oh, Luffy can stretch 72 Gomu Gomus," which is just like, all right, this doesn't make any sense. But sometimes he draws like silly requests. Say, "Hey, can you please draw this character without their hat?" Like he draws a picture of Buggy without his hat, and you see his hair is actually ponytails. And then sometimes he will actually answer questions relevant to the story. In this volume, we get the ages of our crew. Luffy is 17, Zoro is 19, Nami is 18, Usopp is in that range. I think he's 17. We learned that a few of the pirates are named after real characters. I think Alvida was named after one. Axand Morgan was named after a real pirate. And Robonora Zoro, our resident green-haired swordsman, was also named after a pirate. I think the last name was Lolonois, a French pirate. So we do get that. There's no need to cover everything that Oda says in the SBS. Like I said, a lot of it's nonsense. I'll show you some of my favorite things as we move on. But when a piece of lore is answered and when it becomes relevant in the main story, I will be sure to reference it in that video when it happens. All right, that's it for this week's review of Volume 4. Tune in next video to see the conclusion of the battle with Captain Kuro and the Black Cat Pirates. Thanks for watching. See you later.